Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Hey USA. My name is Nick Garcia. I'm a senior reporter for Play USA, and with me, as always, Mr. Brant James, lead writer, Play USA. Brant, how you doing today?
Doing well, thank you. A little chilly here in Florida, 65 degrees. Had to put on a jacket. Don't want to hear that from you. Whatever your thoughts are, keep those to yourself. Just let me have my chill.
It started snowing here yesterday. Light drizzle, but nothing crazy. But so we figured this week, with leading into the holiday season, we would kind of provide you listeners and viewers with a brief recap of all the action that's been happening this month. Brant, why don't you kick it off for us?
Yeah, I'm going to cheat just the slightest bit. I'm going to begin one day before the month began on Halloween. Having a nice cup of cold brewed coffee on a Sunday, and kabam, there's sports betting going on in Louisiana. So we'll call that November Eve. A very newsy month revealed itself to us in October. Louisiana began its long-awaited retail sports betting. Still no online sports betting there. All the operators are lining up. There's still some licenses being handed out, and it's anticipated that'll happen, if not December, by around 2022. Looks like we're going to make it as a civilization to 2022. So hats off to all of us. Congratulations. Have some extra turkey. Yeah. And so that's why a lot of the business has been in the South so far. So it began with Louisiana.
Yeah. And that was an interesting thing because when they first even talked about the expansion of gambling, sports betting was off the table. They said no to it. And then, a couple of years later, they saw how successful it's been. They wanted sports betting, but then mobile was off the table for a little bit. So it kind of took them a bit to get on board with this. But now, do you feel like they're going to be a power player in the South?
I think they will. And keep in mind, Louisiana is a very odd place, and not just for the reasons we think of: Bourbon Street, weird food, half-dressed people drinking hurricanes walking down the French Quarter. But I don't think that there's any other state in the union that legalized sports betting like Louisiana. They call their counties parishes. 55 out of the 64 counties voted to approve, and the fact that happened is a little odd. Just the quirks of Louisiana politics. I don't know of any other state that did that. Either you have it or you don't. So 55 of the 64, but there, of course, those counties are jammed around the population and probably more importantly, the tourist centers. So when folks pour into Orleans Parish for a national championship game or a Super Bowl, or to see Zion if he ever plays basketball again, they'll be able to, if they can still hold on to their phone, it's not all sticky from the jambalaya. They can make bets on their phone one day, but for a couple months or a month or so, they're going to have to stumble into a sports book. But one day,
I'm pretty sure they're just happy to have it. So moving on, we got Louisiana. What's next on the list?
Louisiana got to bask in that bayou sunlight for one day until out of the warm blue air. Florida, November 1st, kabam, having a peaceful afternoon, thinking about what I'm going to cook for dinner. Kablooey, there's legal sports betting, mobile sports betting. Why not even just go for it? The Seminole Tribe of Florida launches sports betting on the afternoon of November 1. The Hard Rock digital app is live. It's still live. As a matter of fact, hold your thought. I'm on the U.S. District Court of District of Columbia website hitting refresh to see if the judge is going to issue an opinion on the multiple layers of litigation. No. Okay. I can keep going. The app is still live until that D.C. District Court rules otherwise. At the heart of it still is the hub and spoke model. Not to get too in the weeds with it. It would be precedent setting for the Seminole tribe to keep servers that accept the bets, to collect the data on the bets, to have that on tribal land, and to be able to take those bets from people like me sitting in my office 30 miles. Well, the servers are in Hollywood, so several hundred miles from there. It's just not been done before. With the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act, this would set a new precedent, and I'm sure ripple through a lot of tribal compact negotiations in the future. For now, it's still ongoing. Still no retail sports betting. The tribe went for the big one first. So as far as I know, the retail sports books haven't opened, and I was creeping around looking for one as recently as 2 days ago.
So condensing that down for you viewers and listeners, there's only one, I guess you call them, well, I mean, they are a tribe, Seminole tribe, but basically one corporation that's allowed to operate sports betting in Florida, and that is the Seminole tribe at their Hard Rock properties. Correct?
Yeah. There's two tribes in Florida that offer gaming. The other is the Miccosukee tribe, much smaller, fewer properties by far. The Seminoles have, we always call it the virtual monopoly. Really, they've got a lot. Another part of that compact was the Seminoles were going to get to roll out craps and roulette in the casinos. My informal survey of some of the security folks and bartenders at the Tampa casino last week said that it was going to happen Monday. I've not been able to confirm that, but we'll see. That's a very big deal for them also. It's not just about sports betting. So, so far sports betting is still alive in Florida. The DraftKings and FanDuels and a lot of outside operators are lobbying very hard for the state to legalize sports betting through the legislature process, not just through the compact process, which would allow others in. Seminoles are not very into that. They're going to spend a lot of money and leverage a lot of power to make sure that doesn't happen. So a lot of companies want to fight over the 21 point something million folks down here in Florida that could possibly bet on sports.
All right, so we got Louisiana, we got Florida. I believe the next big thing that happened this month is up north. Is that right? New Jersey.
That's right, New Jersey, where the new wave of legal sports betting began. When that law was first enacted, part of the process to make it more palatable to the locals, some of the founding fathers of sports betting there put a clause into the, actually it's a constitution, part of the Constitution, that you cannot bet on in-state colleges, New Jersey colleges, or on games, NCAA games that are occurring in New Jersey. A couple of years later, they attempted to undo that, allowing for bets on the likes of Rutgers, Seton Hall, I guess Princeton if you're of a mind, and some NCAA tournament games are going to be coming there in the future. But as Play NJ's David Danzas predicted accurately, that failed. So the citizens of New Jersey remain content with not getting further frustrated by Rutgers football.
The NCAA is going there in 2025. Danzas did mention that this isn't a open and closed deal, that lawmakers will come to the table hopefully next year or the following year and try to get that passed. So got a link in the description for that story. You can check that out.
Our Nick from New Jersey just heading over the bridge. New York was newsy. Tell everybody what happened there.
Yeah, so we had been patiently waiting for New York regulators to release the names of who basically would be running mobile sports betting in New York. Retail sports betting had passed for a while, so residents of New York State were able to go to casinos, place bets, but they weren't able to do it on their phone, which is why troves of people were flooding into New Jersey. Regulators finally got their act together, finally released the names of the operators. It's 9 in total. I probably should list them all on the screen, if we have them. But off the top of my list, it's going to be the big hitters. It's going to be your FanDuels. It's going to be your DraftKings. It's going to be WinBet. It's going to be Caesars, I believe. We'll rattle off the names. They'll populate on the screen. Yeah.
Companies that are willing to pay a lot of money. I think it was a 51% tax rate for the right to get there, which, you got to pay it to make it. So I'm sure that someone crunched those figures for them. They'll be fine.
The big takeaway is that, no, you can't start betting right away. There's still some hurdles to get across. There's still some red tape to navigate. The important thing is the names were selected. Regulators are working tirelessly, and hopefully, by the time the Super Bowl comes around, perhaps even early January, mobile sports betting in New York will be a thing.
Yeah, and that will the next piece we would be talking about is something that we learned in November that ties directly in, because obviously New York is going to be a massive market with the population base there. And the interest that region in general has on sports betting, because a lot of New York folks who want to do it legally have been traveling over to New Jersey, and we have the heat maps to prove it. You get into New Jersey and bet. Middle of November, regulated U.S. sportsbooks handled more than $5 billion with a B in a month for the first time in history, according to data compiled by Play USA. So that is certainly going to be in jeopardy as soon as New York is up and running with that mobile component.
Yeah. I would say that was the last big giant piece of news, is just the fact that sports betting is apparently crushing it across the U.S. People wanted it, they got it, and they're using it now.
Yeah. And one more just asterisk to that, something else that happened in November, Disney, we'd speculated about it forever. Finally, in a Q3 earnings call, the CEO of Disney, Bob Chapek, basically said that ESPN realizes this is a revenue stream. Disney realizes it and will pursue this in the future. He thinks it'll have no impact negatively on the Disney brand. And so I don't know if you're going to necessarily see, Mickey Mouse Sportsbooks or anything of the like, or, Pluto Bet or what have you. But I think that you can be assured that ESPN is going to expand the content and perhaps even, align with a third party to begin offering bets, maybe along the line of what Fox has done.
Yeah. It feels like so much has been crammed into just 1 month. It's insane. To recap, Louisiana, Florida, New Jersey, New York, and the U.S. sports betting sector appears to be booming. Brant, any final thoughts before we end today's show? Any final thoughts?
Let's just wrap it up with Louisiana because we started that way. The Manning family now works for Caesars, which bought the naming rights to the Superdome, and obviously is pushing very hard in Louisiana. So I feel bad for poor Drew Brees, the former Saints quarterback, aligns with PointsBet, and they probably had dreams of him bringing all that business in, and then Caesars goes and signs the high holy family of football in Louisiana. So sorry, Drew. And check out the Power Poll, the Sportsbook Ambassador Power Poll, because the Manning family rocketed near the top.
Maybe one day when Texas gets its act together, they'll bring the hometown hero home and get Drew Brees on board with something. Westlake guy, Boston Westlake, so I think that's where he belongs.
Yeah. If I'm a Texas sports book, I'm going for Nolan Ryan and AJ Foyt, and I don't care if I get anybody else.
Yeah. Just a quick note for everyone out there. We will be taking a Thanksgiving break next week. There won't be an episode of Hey USA. We're going to be enjoying it with our families, eating a bunch of turkey, watching a lot of football. We'll be back the following week, last Monday of the month, with a special preview of SBC going down to New Jersey. So be on the lookout for that. You guys like, follow, subscribe. If you have any questions, hit us in the comments. Follow us on Twitter. You know the drill. Happy Thanksgiving.